Hi, today you're at home with Heidi-Licious, and I'm Heidi. We're going to make something a little bit different. Now, the name is very unusual. It's pink sauce with seeds, and let me give you a little background on that. I made this dish for my boyfriend, whipped it up, changed it a few times, finally thought I had it perfect. Hadn't made it in a couple of weeks, and he said, "Tonight I want pink sauce with seeds." I had no idea what he was talking about. Pink sauce with seeds? Ugh, what is that? Come to find out, it's my Italian sauce over linguine with a little bit of cream cheese in it and pine nuts, decorated with basil. That's it, but pink sauce with seeds? Let's get cooking. We have a half a pound of bacon that we're going to chop up. We have 4 tablespoons of olive oil and butter, which we will choose to use versus the bacon fat. You can mix it up whichever way you want. That's the beauty of this recipe. We also have a half an onion, 5 cloves of garlic, a half a cup of sun-dried tomatoes chopped, a half a cup of flour that we're using to dust our chicken with seasoned with salt and pepper, 4 chicken thighs, 2 cans of tomatoes with one of them drained. I also used one that was fire roasted for a little bit added flavor, a half a bunch of basil chopped, some freshly ground pepper, 1 cup of chicken stock, a teaspoon of Italian seasoning, 1 cup of already toasted pine nuts, and 4 ounces of our wonderful sun-dried tomato and basil Philadelphia cream cheese, 2 ounces of half and half, and our linguine. We will also decorate with a garnish with a little bit of Parmigiano Reggiano. Let's get cooking. First, we're going to chop our bacon up so it's nice and small so it'll fry quickly and get nice and crisp. If your bacon is nice and cold, it'll chop much easier. So I do a couple of sideway chops. Even though the bacon is already sliced, it's easier to chop up when it's cold and you do it this way. Another alternative is that you could purchase the already cooked real bacon bits. But what fun is that? The whole house doesn't smell as good that way. So keep your fingernails nice and tucked under. Ooh, hear that sizzle. Next we're going to chop up our chicken. Now, we haven't washed our hands, but that's okay because everything's going into the same container, into the same pot. So I've got 4 chicken breasts, 3 of them I've already chopped. So this one I'm going to chop up and just show you how I do it. Okay? We're just going to do a nice, easy, coarse, chunk it, a little bit smaller than bite size. You don't want anybody getting a whole mouthful. Turn your mount and just go ahead and chop. Keep those fingers tucked. You still want to be able to count to 10 when we're all done. So with my clean hand, I'm going to grab some pepper and sprinkle it on there. A good hearty amount. We have salted boiling water here. We're going to go ahead and add our linguine to it. That won't take but about 10 or 11 minutes. Al dente is the way everybody likes it. We're going to reserve our bacon drippings. And just wipe out the pan. Add a couple of that. A little bit of that. And a little bit of butter. We'll let that heat back up. I'm just going to toss the chicken with some salt and pepper. And some flour. We want to season it. Just like that. My pot of water is boiling over there. Tell it to calm down a little bit. Looking good. Now here's where it's tough. Don't touch the chicken. Back away from the pan. Let it caramelize. If you keep messing with it, it's not going to get brown. You want it to caramelize, so just leave it alone. If you want to mess with something, mess with the pot that's boiling over here. Let's turn this down a little bit. All right. You got an attitude or what over here? Here we go. Break up that pasta a little bit so it can come around. Oh yeah. Our chicken is nice and brown now, so we can add some of the rest of our ingredients. But in the meantime, I wanted to let you know that my pasta's done. To our pan, we're going to add our onion. Let that simmer a little bit. Want that to saute a little bit, get the flavor in there. It seems like an awful lot of onion, but I really like onion. After a couple minutes like that, we're going to add our garlic. That's 5 cloves. Now, if you don't like that much garlic, you can choose to just go ahead and add a little bit less. We like that much garlic. And we figure since we're both eating this, kind of 2 negatives cancel out, it's all good. Let that simmer for a little bit. Don't let your garlic burn. If you have burnt garlic, you got to start over. You can't fix burnt garlic. You got to start all over. There we go. Then what I want to do is add my cup of chicken stock. Let that, oh yeah, that's it, baby. Woo! Oh. Now, here comes my Italian seasoning. Oh yeah. We're going to turn that down a little bit. Now we're going to add our canned tomatoes. Now this pan's going to get pretty full. And then we're going to add our diced, julienned, sun-dried tomatoes. Okay, here come the sun-dried tomatoes. They really add a richness that you just can't get from canned. All right, we'll let that simmer here for about, I don't know, maybe 10 minutes. Those onions will just be done. They'll still have a little bit of crunch to them. They don't dissolve. They're still there. And that'll get nice and thick. The sauce is ready to go. It's a little bit thick, so I'm going to take some of our leftover pasta water and add about a ladleful to that. That makes it bind together very well. Instead of just adding plain water, use your pasta water. The leftover glutens from the pasta will help it to make a wonderful sauce. So we're going to add our last ingredients, which is our bacon, of course. You didn't add your basil earlier because it would have been too, it would have gotten diluted. It loses its flavor, fresh basil, if you keep it too long in there. You want to add your ingredients closer to the end, the fresh ingredients. Now, our cream cheese. This is the sun-dried tomato basil cream cheese. This will add a nice creaminess to this whole thing. Get it kind of hot in the middle. It'll melt real well, then you can spread it around. Less chance of getting lumps that way. Just let it get nice and creamy. And it's that turns it into kind of an orangey sauce, and then the last little bit of half and half turns it into pink sauce. All right, so here we'll make it pink. Oh yeah, and then we do the seeds. Now this may seem like a lot, but one time I made it, I didn't add as many pine nuts, and I just didn't think there was enough. I didn't get pine nuts in almost every bite. Now we've got pink sauce with seeds. I think it's time to eat. Hear the dinner bell? I'm ready. It smells so good in here, you wouldn't believe it. That's because we finished our pink sauce with seeds and we've plated on a beautiful plate of linguine with some, we're going to decorate it now, and we're going to start off with a nice, heavy, beautiful layer of Parmigiano Reggiano. We should just make this look like snow on top of a mountain. This is decadent. I like it really covered. There we go. Not enough so you can't see your pink sauce though. Last but not least, we're going to do another little bit of the seeds so people know it's in there, and a little bit of garnish with our basil. That's it today for pink sauce with seeds. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. I'm Heidi, and I'm Heidi-Licious.